Hello, how are you? I'm Karen Barno, and this is part of my podcast, Possibilities Cafe. The stories that we tell ourselves are a lot of is foretelling of who we are, of how we interpret things, but more importantly, it's the stories that we hear when other people tell us. For example, when I was growing up, my dad, first of all, I gotta give you some context. My dad worked at the Westinghouse. It was a steel mill. You know, I'm from steel country, obviously, Pittsburgh, steel country. And he worked in a steel mill, and he worked his way up to management. You know, he went to school part-time in the evenings to get his degree. I mean, he worked really hard to get to where he was, and I've always admired that because there was no obstacle that got in his way. The man just knew what he wanted, he went after it. He learned how to invest money. He did very well in investments. He was just one of those guys that would do whatever it took to win. And he would sit me down all the time. Now, I can imagine now, you know, he's passed a long time ago, and I always can imagine how frustrating I must have been to him because I was the underachieving daughter. I was the one who, it just didn't matter what he said. It was like he couldn't get through to me. And he just didn't understand everything that was going on around me. You know, when you're in trouble getting through to children, when children are having problem issues or behavior issues or any kind of issues, don't be so quick to say, oh, that, you know, they're just a problem child or they're not smart. Look at what's running behind them. Sit down with them and ask them what's going on in the background that nobody knows about. Would have been a good question to ask, but alas, he didn't. But he would sit me down all the time and he would tell me, and this is a story, and you can hear this two ways. He would tell me, I don't care what kind of ditch digger you're going to be or what kind of job you have. If you're a ditch digger, just be the best ditch digger there ever had. Work hard, you know, show up every day, just do your best. Always be the best ditch digger. So time goes by and I'm telling my husband this story and he's like, wow, he really had a low bar for you. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, he thought you could only achieve being a ditch digger. And I looked at him and I said, that's not what I got. I got that it didn't matter what you do, what job you have, no matter how menial it is or how amazing it is, be the best. See that? Now, probably a lot of people, when I tell you this, you'll be sitting there going, well, no, I think he just meant that you can only be a ditch digger. It's how you hear the story. It's how you interpret the story in your mind. And that's why you could have 3 kids sitting lined up and heard the same story, and each person will have their own interpretation because you're taking it through a filter. You're filtering it through your knowledge base. And for me, you know, I had always admired my dad, you know, because he was, you know, such a hard worker that I thought, well, he must see in me that I can be a hard worker, and he must see in me that I too can do well. Now, again, my husband's like, not too much. Even when I explained all this to him, he looked at me and says, not too much. And at this time, my father was still alive. So he goes, I'm going to call your dad and ask him. And I'm like, don't. Because this is what I believe. And I'm keeping to my story. So whenever you hear a story and you take it, whether you take it positive or negative, ask yourself, if it's a negative, why did you think it was negative? What did you hear of that came out negative? And it can be anything in your life. I mean, we carry these shadows around with us and we drag them and we drag them. And when we pull them out and we look at them, we realize, you know, it was somebody's comment that was offhanded. It was that you're just like your nana and you're going to have the fat gene. Or, you know, you're never going to be that smart, so just take whatever job you can get. Or, you know, you don't have any friends because nobody likes you. I mean, people have told me horrible things their parents have said to them. I mean, some I can't even bring myself to say because it's like, why would somebody ever say that? Why are you not raised in a house where your parents are your biggest cheerleaders? That they believe in you completely and totally. But that's not how it is. So when you get to a part in your life when things change, when things shift, you have to ask yourself why. What made you kind of change? Because I'll see people go, they'll do really well, and then they'll hit 35, 40, 45, 50, or whatever, and their life completely changes. And it's like, well, what happened? Well, I don't know. Well, you must have something with age going, or something that when you got to a certain point of income, or a certain job, or, you know, you hit that wall. And that's how you can tell there's a shadow there. I mean, shadows are begging to be found. They will yell, "You who over here? Look at me, I'm over here." If people will just stop and look. If people will just ask themselves, why do I feel like this? Why am I resistant to? Why can't I not ever seem to change this part of me? That's when you have to look within. Because at the end of the day, you want to reignite your inner warrior. You want to get your inner warrior going again. Because when we're born, if we could walk, and actually, some of you guys in the medical community know this, but if you hold a little newborn baby up, and I think it's up to 1 or 2 months, they'll walk. And then of course they stop because they don't need to, so they quit doing it until they have to be retaught. That's why some kids learn to walk so fast, because they've always known. But for whatever reason, we don't have them walking at 4 months old, for probably good reason. It's all in how you program your mind. It's all in your human experience as a child and what you were told then that you carry with you. And you may not know you carried something with you until, the crazy thing, this is so crazy. I did not realize that as a child that I had been abused until I moved in with my husband. Never even, it was so deeply buried away in my subconsciousness that I didn't even realize it until I was living with a man who was coming in at night and freaking me out. And all of a sudden I was like, holy crap, I didn't even realize it. That's how your mind works. It represses stuff to protect you. But as you continue to evolve, the mind has to reveal. God has to show you everything you need to know so you can step into your greatness. So look at the stories you tell, that not only that you tell, but that you heard as a child. And if you viewed it like my husband, when he's, be the best ditch digger, why did you view it as that's all you could be? And I asked my husband now, I was like, well, let me talk about your shadows, because why would you get that out of that? And I mean, and him and I turned in a really great conversation, because his parents may not have been as encouraging as him. And I wasn't like my parents were my biggest cheerleader, but my dad, he always kind of saw something. He always kind of, and I look back at our relationship, although we were like two passing ships because we were so alike, he was always at work and I was the youngest and, just a host of stuff. But I think at the end of the day, he really was like, you're a troublemaker and you're always going to get in trouble and you're a talker, like he was. But I was thought, and my sister and I talk about it, she's like, yeah, he always did kind of see something there. Sadly, he passed before I really was able to hit my stride, but he knows, he's up there, he's watching going, yeah. And I did think he'd be the best ditch digger. So look at the stories you tell yourself. Look what's happened in your life if you keep repeating the same pattern. If the same type of person keeps showing up in your life. And I'll be talking about that actually maybe tomorrow, because I did an MP3 last night on it, on clues when the same type of person keeps showing up. What do you need to learn? What are you missing that you're not seeing through that occurring? So if you have any questions, let me know. I really, I want women to build businesses. I want women to step into their power, and I want to help you build your business. And next week, September 21st, over at Possibilities Cafe in my free group, I'll start teaching a 5-day how to start and grow your business, and I have the perfect example for what I'm going to use. So it'll be great. But if you haven't started your business, or you're not exactly where you want to be, something is holding you back. It's just that simple. If you keep finding yourself in debt, there's a reason. If you keep getting in your own way, there's a reason. If you lose 5 pounds and gain 10 pounds, there's a reason. Life just doesn't happen. I talk to so many people and it's like, well, it just happened. It doesn't happen. You can control your own life. You can control your own destiny. You just have to figure out why things happen and what you were to learn from those things, and then move on. Because once you learn that lesson, you'll feel fantastic until, God thinks you need to learn another one. So I hope this helped you guys. When in doubt, always think be the best ditch digger you can be. But look at the stories you tell yourself and the stories people tell you and how you interpret it, because that's where your clues lie. Have a great day, y'all. I'll talk to you soon. Probably pop on tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to try to do videos more often. Jump over to my YouTube channel and give me a subscribe. It's well, it's a bunch of numbers right now because I have to get 100 subscribers to be able to name it Karen Barno, and I'm at 72. This has been a long sludge. I mean, I've got, what, 8,000 on Facebook. I think I have like 5,000 or 6,000 on my LinkedIn page. Instagram, I'm over a little bit, but Instagram and I just don't jam with it. I love the stories and that's it. So anyway, talk to you guys later. Give me a subscribe. If you have any questions, please let me know. I really, 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 you know, if I could help just one person heal their shadows to reignite their inner warrior, man, it'd be awesome. It would make everything worthwhile. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.